Hey, what's up at the Capitol? Hey, Ward, what's up at the Capitol? This is Representative Gene Ward. Now we are halfway through the legislative session of 2016. That means we're at halftime. That means that we have 3 bites of the apple down and 3 to go, which really means 3 times a bill is heard in the House, which then goes over to the Senate, and it's heard 3 times, and then if it goes up, it'll be signed by the governor. But I want you to hear shortly what I said on the 3rd bite at the apple, or 3rd reading as it's called, about the budget and what was conspicuously absent, which I call the poison pill or the $28 million denial of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. You know, people have been asking me, even the media said, hey Ward, why are you supporting the Hawaiians like this? Well, you know, I never wanted to sort of shine the light on me, but I'm going to give you a bit of background, which goes back 30 years ago, when I was doing my PhD dissertation while also founding the Hawaii Entrepreneurship Training and Development Institute. That was with Dr. George Kanahele, who was with my business partner for 12 years, and we did entrepreneur training starting with Native Hawaiians, and then we did Chamorros, we did Maoris, we went to Africa, we went to Alaska, and we were training less entrepreneurial groups to be more entrepreneurial. For 10 years, I was steeped in the Kukanaka, which is the famous book that George Kanahele wrote. I was steeped by my research doing my PhD at the University of Hawaii at the same time. I wrote the first dissertation on Hawaiians in business. What does it take to be a Hawaiian in business? Contrary to the stereotype, Hawaiians compared to Haoles or Caucasians were equally successful. The only thing was that the Hawaiians were less in numbers. But they were the ones who told me, you know, I never bought into the stereotype that I don't have analysis paralysis. If I'm a Hawaiian, I can't do these sort of things. So starting 30 years ago, during my dissertation and during my training of Hawaiians, I learned to love and appreciate what was going on in the legislature. Then when I got elected in 1990, I found that we always give lip service to the Hawaiians. We used to we kick the can down the road, so to speak. We'd always say, yeah, we need that, we can't do this, but well, we'll get to you someday. And OHA basically put our feet to the fire first and said, look, you guys have not given us ceded lands, we're going to take you to court. That's why now we see Kaka'ako, at least the Makai, is owned by the Hawaiians because they took us to court. The same thing is now going on with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. After 96 years, since 1920, when the Congress promised we will put a permanent land base back into the Native Hawaiian people. Right now there's 27,000 people still on that wait list. I want you to know that when I say these things about what is going on in the Hawaiian community, it's not to shine the light on me, it's not to get a grandstand, it's not an issue that I'm going to get elected on or get a political point, but it's the right thing to do. So let's have a look at my no vote. I know you may be tired of looking at all these no votes, but you got to know the background and where the motivation is. When people say, oh, Ward voted against the $13 billion budget, well, there's a big reason why he did, and this is going to show you some of it. So thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you. Aloha.
Opposition, sir.
So ordered. Please proceed.
As indicated by previous speakers, this budget has a lot of good things in it, Speaker. A lot of good things. And I want to bear witness to what the chair said. She's probably one of the best chairs, Speaker, since you were the chair of... You were the chair once upon a time.
That's right. I was
In the beginning, there was a chair of finance called Josuke, and he was a tough guy. But she is tough on the department, Speaker. I want to bear witness that she brings their feet to the fire. Clearly brings their feet to the fire. And for the first time in the history of my tenure, is that she's bringing these special funds under control. If you remember the late Loa Kalapa, he said, look, if you guys keep creating general funds, you might as well all go home. We don't need a finance committee because everything is automatically already pumped into the various departments. So I commend her, I commend the staff for all of their work that they have done. But Mr. Speaker, there's a poison pill in all of these great things in this budget. The poison pill is 96 years long. It's $28 million short. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's the Department of Hawaiian Homes. Mr. Speaker, that pill is so bitter that even it's unconstitutional. It's so bitter that the Hawaiian people can't take that, and nor can we take it because we are under a court order, if you will, Mr. Speaker. Between now and the end of this session, we are to come up with another $19 million, because right now the only amount in this budget now is $9 million. It's short $19 million. Mr. Speaker, we don't want to go back to court. We don't want to go back to what even in 1991 was a broken trust task force that says, for the whole history of this program, we've had nothing but abdication, rhetoric, and other things. And Mr. Speaker, I want to end on a personal note about this budget. The media called me this morning and said, Ward, why are you talking about this budget so much? Even a colleague here said, what's with you? Mr. Speaker, I want to say a couple of things that go back 30 years. 30 years ago, Mr. Speaker, my business partner was Dr. George Kanahele, one of the leading minds of the Hawaiian community, the one who helped design and create the Hawaiian sense of place with the convention center, etc. We were training Hawaiians to go into business, and I was doing my PhD at the University of Hawaii. I was interviewing Hawaiians compared to Caucasians. I interviewed 150 Hawaiians, the best and the brightest minds of what it was to be a Hawaiian, to be stereotyped, but to be an entrepreneur and to be successful, what it was like to be a Hawaiian in that skin. So I wrote that dissertation. With that, with an understanding of that when I came into the legislature, that there was going to be an understanding of the Hawaiian community, Mr. Speaker. But for 9 terms, I've sat on this floor, stood on this floor, and all I've heard is rhetoric to the Hawaiian community. Except when maybe Cayetano was brought to court and said, Oha, pay your dues with the ceded lands. Then we divvied up. But Mr. Speaker, we have not done justice for 96 years with 27,000 people waiting on that list. And for those reasons, Mr. Speaker, I will continue to speak out. Not because it's to shine light on me, because it's the right thing, Mr. Speaker, and everybody in their heart in this building knows it's the right thing to do. So let's not hold out for this $19 million. Let's give them the $19 million, and let's get on with putting these 27,000 people into their homes, of which we promised many, 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 many years ago. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I've been warned that because of my stand that there may be a repercussion in my district because of the Great Lawn. I refuse to believe that, Mr. Speaker. So lastly, I want to thank the chair again. I want to thank this body for a great budget. But lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the people of Hawaii who funded this budget, who make all of this possible. And hopefully someday, for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and for the Hawaiian natives waiting on that list, they will too be satisfied. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you very much.